How would an INTP in survival mode differ from an INTP who is thriving? Before I can answer, please consider subscribing to the channel so I can savor my most favorite dish at the local brewery. Cheese curds. No, seriously, they're amazing and quite delectable. And hit the alert bell so you can be notified when I go live. That being said, what's up, Eco Hackers? I'm C.S. Joseph, here to answer your questions on anything Jungian analytical psychology or the four sides of the mind. And the source of today's question is Khadija Khan, and she made this available for us on Quora, answered by Sophie Dragon. I wonder if I should, report that name for not being real, just like my name gets reported all the time, but whatever. An INTP in survival mode is barely even surviving. What? We don't give a shit about most of the things most of the time, and in a state of depression, this capacity to engage in any meaningful way in our surroundings drops even further. We will stare at the ceiling in a seemingly endless state of thinking, but coming to no definite conclusions, ever. Basic self-care is rarely considered. We will eat when we are very hungry. We will use the toilet when nature calls, but that's it. We get caught in an endless cycle of thinking and apathy that can never stop. But at least it feels like it will never stop, but it can. Inspiration, ideas, plans, enthusiasm can come out of nowhere. The things that make the most introverted of introverted acts like an extrovert. This is when the INTP thrives. We need something to be passionate about and interested in. However, at this pinnacle of personal happiness, our attention to things in our life that are unrelated to the goal may somewhat reflect the times when we have just been surviving. We live and breathe the pursuit of our vision and goals. Nothing makes an INTP feel more high than being in this state of mind. A flow state, perhaps? We are in love with whatever we are thinking about. We will become experts, not because we are being forced to in an educational environment, but because we want and need to discover everything about whatever we are interested in. Not necessarily true, but I see where you're coming from. True passion. I guess it would have to be true passion with NI critic. But true thriving, I'm not really sure. I think for INTPs to truly thrive, we need to have good relationships in the background so that when the project comes to an end, there is a good life waiting. Otherwise, the unfortunate INTP, especially a self-employed or unemployed one, will seesaw between these two states, which both exclude others. We are all or nothing people. It's more important for us than for any other type that we find our passion, and it's even better if our passion connects us with other people who share the same enthusiasm. This is a great starting point for developing a relationship based on mutual respect and shared interests. It's important that when we find someone who we connect with, we overcome our basal urges and put ourselves out there to make plans with these people to develop our relationship into something beyond just work. These new friends could enrich our experience beyond that which we could have ever previously expected. So to summarize, a truly thriving INTP has great relationships as well as great projects. Thriving and surviving look quite similar from an outsider's perspective, although internally it feels very different. Up and downs are inevitable for us, but to avoid the down being rock bottom, we need to realize that we have extroverted feeling and therefore actually need people. Very well said. I'm going to upvote that. So how would an INTP in survival mode differ from an INTP who is thriving? Well, usually in survival mode, it's because they're being obligated into doing things that they don't really want to do. Like, for example, in an education environment, as Sophie had pointed out. And that's not exactly something I would recommend for an INTP anyway. I often tell INTPs don't even bother going to school or college or university if it's not something you're actually truly really interested in. And to get an INTP to be interested in something is almost impossible. So you just kind of have to allow the INTP to go around exploring. They are truly explorers, and they explore everything from this childlike point of view, their introverted sensing child. And they're able to literally absorb every possible experience or sensation with almost anything that they touch. This could be like playing games like Magic the Gathering or Dungeons and Dragons or Star Trek Online or World of Warcraft or any MMORPG for that matter. But it doesn't have to be MMOs either. If they get interested in computer programming or social engineering like Kevin D. Mitnick did, which if you're an INTP, you need to read his books, by the way, and learn social engineering immediately. That being said, also, oftentimes it's like, okay, am I doing this because I have to, or am I doing this because I want to? And that right there is the true difference between an INTP in survival mode versus an INTP who is in thrival mode. Thrival mode is when the INTP is actually doing something that they want to do via their NI critic. Also, it is when they're going out of their way to help other people, and those people are healthfully responding to them and showing appreciation to the INTP for what the INTP is actually doing, which is very important. Now, if an INTP is not getting any appreciation, then they're just going to be disloyal and abandon the people that they're supporting because of how supportive they are. Furthermore, in order for an INTP to become far more intelligent, getting an education is not going to do them any good. However, them going out of the way to help other people, and for the sake of helping others and being supportive to others, then they learn said skill or whatever it is that they're doing to support that person. And by learning that skill, they become a master of that skill to a point of an extreme expertise, right? And it takes a while, but eventually, because they don't, they'll master it because they don't forget anything. And as long as they're able to be, have the room to make every possible mistake because they're explorers, they're experimenters. No one experiments more than an INTP other than maybe an ENTP because both types are triple systematic and focused on finding the best way of doing something. Don't forget, this phone was created by an NTP duo, Steve Jobs, an ENTP, Steve Wozniak, an INTP, or Apple, etc. But again, it all comes from an NTP. NTP ingenuity, because they are both triple systematic and they can find the absolute best way to do things. This is absolutely critical. So in order for them to be in thrival mode, they have to be helping others, which will make themselves smarter by default or by proxy or by it's a byproduct basically of them being helpful. But they have to be receiving recognition for and people showing them gratitude and thanking them. Whereas most INTPs are just taken for granted and overlooked, which is a huge problem. And if they're being taken for granted or overlooked, they're obviously in survival mode and trying desperately to find someone who actually cares about them and actually wants to listen to what they have to say and actually values their thoughts and values them as human beings, which is why INTPs can become so insanely apathetic. If you want to learn more about INTP apathy, I highly recommend watching the Season 7 episode 15 here on this YouTube channel. Go to playlists, go to Season 7, watch episode 15, which is the virtue and vice of INTPs, which is attentiveness versus, or attention versus apathy, basically, or inattention, right? It's super, super important. But as a result of an INTP in their life going out of the way to help other people and be supportive to other people, eventually, through all of their exploration, they will discover the thing that they actually care about, the thing that they actually want to do with their anti-critic, and then they'll focus everything they have on that one thing for the rest of their life. A great example of this is Elon Musk. Elon Musk did this, and now he has Tesla, and he has SpaceX, and he has the Boring Company, etc. And he literally made a rifle flamethrower thing. That's pretty awesome. And that guy is obviously a kid in the candy store at all times because his businesses are his candy store. So if you want to go get your own candy store, INTPs, you need to work for it. If you want to learn how to work for it, well, there's so many different ways to do it, but seriously, just increase your skills. And increase your skills through helping others. Help other people based on what you're kind of interested in and assist them. Even if you don't exactly know what you can do, but if you explore and you learn, even if you do it for free, you're gaining valuable skills anyway that'll help you, later. And then one day you'll find yourself at the same level as Elon Musk, as long as you don't give up, right? Anyway, these are all really important things to consider. And that is an example of an INTP who is thriving instead of being, surviving. Surviving is when you're just doing that 9-to-5 job and you are the support structure for a business, but no one actually appreciates you and they constantly overlook you, if not actually listen to you, which is really frustrating. At that point, I recommend not being loyal to them. Therefore, An INTP, just like ENTPs, must learn the following habit. Anytime you have any interaction with any human being of any kind, or organization, or an entity of some kind, ask yourself this question. What is this person or entity getting out of it compared to what I am getting out of it? And if they're getting more out of it than I am, that means they're manipulating me. That means they're taking advantage of me. And as a result, therefore, it is your duty to not only criticize them, but also abandon them immediately and move on to somebody else where you are getting far more in return on investment than you are putting in, or the same, etc. But that's how you basically know, or come up with some type of way that you can mutually benefit. Because if you're not doing that, you're just going to become a doormat for the rest of your life, which really basically, sucks to be you. You don't want to be that person and then to be stuck in survival mode. If you want to thrive, you have to do the opposite. Therefore, you need to be aware of what people are getting out of situations, comparing it to what you're getting out of situations, and hold them accountable. Because holding them accountable is also you having self-respect, which is something INTPs, especially INTP men in this Western society, are severely lacking. So, if you'd like a chance your question being answered on this channel, please post it on Quora and tag me or leave it as a comment below. If you would like a free copy of the type grid to assist you in typing yourself or others, please visit csjoseph.life/typegrid. Put in your email and it will be emailed to you. Also, watch the other companion videos on that page. It would really help you get more enlightened as to how this science works and why the MBTI is just not that really good of a thing. The MBTI just straight up sucks. Anyway, with all that being said, I'll see you guys tonight.